This tutorial is going to go through how to make your artboards for your different sections of what you need. So this is what it'll end up looking like. You'll have your, at minimum, 10 variations of your logo or multiple logos. You'll choose your final logo and you'll have variations of the black and white color and then the reverse of the tones. And then we'll have another artboard that has your final logo, the colored, and then the reverse of your tones. You decide how you lay them out on this. But you'll also have something that you'll put your logo on to show some context. You'll have your name and the project. And then we'll have a fourth artboard with just your logo that will save on its own. Okay, so you're at the point where you have just your logo variations, and now you have your final logo that you're going to choose from. So what you're going to do is add an artboard. So just essentially like a piece of paper that you're adding in addition. So on the left side on your toolbar, you're going to go to the icon that has the shape of the paper plus the 2 line marks on the side. You're going to click on that. And on the top, you are going to click on this little icon that says New Artboard. That's going to add one right next to it. You're going to take your logo design, and this is just a way for you to arrange it so you know what you have for your main logo, your color, and then your reverse of your main logo. So I'm going to take so right now I'm still in Artboard, so it's selecting the entire thing. So I'm going to go back to the selection tool. I'm going to drag and select my logo. I'm going to copy and paste it over to this. So I just did a Control-C, Control-V, and it brought it over here. Because these are the only things that I'm going to have on here, I'm going to hold Shift and drag this and make it bigger so I can see it, see all the details of it. And then once I do this, I can start to see that there's some extra things that I have in here that I don't need. So I'm just going to delete those out. So look for your arrangements. All right, then. So for me, this is my main logo. Some of you might have this reversed, so you might have a background. But for me, this is my main one to start. I might end up changing my mind, but we're going to go with this. So I'm going to copy it. So I'm just going to do the regular selection tool. I'm going to do my Alt. And then I'm going to drag it down. So I have another one. And now I'm going to do a variation with color. In this case, I'm going to change the arrow of like the K into a color. Right now I'm in isolation mode, so I'm just going to click back. And then I should be able to click on just this part here. I'm going to go to my color palette. I could do one solid color. I could double click here, choose the color of my choice. So I have one solid color. In this case, I like the look of the gradient. So I'm going to click on the gradient. So I've got the fill. I'm going to do the gradient. You could have the color just be in your outline. It doesn't have to take over the entire thing. So I'm going to change the colors here. Double click. Right now I'm in grayscale, so I'm going to go to the 3 lines over here, switch to RGB. Then I can go to my color picker and choose the color that I want. I can adjust it here based on the hue that I'm looking for. And then I'm going to go back to my gradient, and this one is also still in grayscale, so I'm going to switch that to RGB, and I'll choose my next color over here, and same thing, I'll kind of adjust it to fit it how I want it to look. I'm going to choose kind of a darker blue-green. All right, so now that I've got that, I'm set. I can come and I can adjust like how much I'm seeing of each color. So I want to see a little more green, so I've moved that. I can also adjust the angle. So maybe I want it to face a different way. In this case, I'm going to keep it going from one side to the other. You could also switch it to a radial if that makes sense for your design. All right, so now here's my colored variation. Next, I'm going to take my main logo and I'm going to switch the values. So I'm switching the lights and the darks. And that way I can make my reverse. So for my case, I am just going to do a circle that I'm going to place on top or underneath my letters. So I'm going to click and hold and choose ellipse. I want this to be a perfect circle, so I'm going to hold Shift and drag. And then I'll end up resizing my letters to fit on here. I'm going to select this. I'm going to make this white because that's what I'm going to end up doing with it. So I'm going to do that first so I can see it as soon as I move on top. I'm going to select the white all the way to the corner here and say OK. I'm going to move this down. And right now I can't see it because I made my circle, my lip shape second, so that it's automatically on top. So I moved my letters behind. I need to move the circle behind the letters. So I'm selected on the circle. I'm going to go to Object, Arrange, and I'm going to say Send to Back. Okay, so that sends the circle back, and then I can see my shape and my letters here. All right, so then you would want to resize this as needed. I like how it kind of fills the edge of this. I might even make the circle just a tiny bit smaller so that it goes off the edge a little bit. Right now it moved it a lot. So if you zoom in, do a Control plus, you're going to get a little more control over how much it changes the size. So it's not going to change it quite as much. And then I'm going to move it to the left, that overlap. All right, so I like how that looks. I'm going to use that. I might even adjust some of these corners to go off the edge. So I can click on one anchor point and move that up. I can do the same thing up here, over here, because I like how that goes off the edge because it matches kind of that edge and that fade out that way. One other option that you have is you don't have to make this a solid color. You could just do a line. So I could switch these. I could change the thickness of my line. So I'm going to go to stroke, make that a little bit thicker so I can see it more. So you could fill it with a line. In this case, these are two separate shapes. So I'm going to select both of them. I'm going to pull up my pathfinders. So Window, Pathfinder, and I'll merge those two. So I'm going to unite. And that way I have that single line that kind of wraps around. Okay, I'm going to keep mine as solid, but you are welcome to choose a line if you prefer to do that. All right, so once you have your reverse, you might have some other options that you want to show on here. Next, you are going to add the artboard. That's going to show like your presentation. So this is going to be what you're going to print. And it is going to include a context, so what you're going to put your logo on specifically. So we're going to add a new artboard. We're going to do artboard here.